Hello everyone, this is Raj, and in this video I'm going to talk about how we can create a Vue JS application with the help of Firebase. And in this video I'm totally work on Cloud Firestore and how you can use Cloud Firestore in Vue JS applications. So we have created a simple project with the help of Vue CLI, and project name is Vue Firebase, and these are the by default file. And I have created a repository where you can check the following command, like you can create a Vue.js application with the help of Vue, create, and your application name. And the second, you need to install Firebase Dependency. So these all are the Firebase Dependency modules. So I'll just go to the terminal, and here I'll write npm install Firebase hyphen save. Okay, so with the help of this command, you can install Firebase npm module in this particular project, and you can run Firebase Vue.js application with the help of npm run serve command. Okay, so with the help of this command, you can create or run your Vue.js application in your local machine. So I'll just wait for a few seconds. And then this will be the ID or a URL. So I'll just copy the URL, or I'll open directly localhost colon 8080. It's 5000. So I'll just write 8080 and then press enter. So this is my Vue.js applications, and this is a Vue.js application architecture, or we can say project structure. So we have a src, and then we have a app.js, and everything is coming from this particular app.js because we are having a navigation bar, and this is a component which is rendering based on the router. So we have a router, and then we have a router configuration things, like if I'll go to the base URL, so we have a component is home component. So I'll go to the views, inside we have a home.component. So I can remove this one part because we will work on our own design. So we'll just remove this entire logic. I'll remove this one, and here we can write h1, let's say, home page. So I will save and then reload. So it's working. This is a home page and this is about page. Now what I need to do, I'll just go to the documentation. So I have created this documentation for using Vue.js or Firebase in Vue.js applications. So first you need to create a config as a directory. Inside you need to create a file, firebase.js file. Now I'll create a config folder. So we have a config folder, and inside config we will create a file name is firebase.js. Okay, so inside this firebase .js file, you need to import the code for the Firebase. So as we have already installed Node.js module for Firebase, so we have a code. You can copy this code, or I can explain this code in the later. So I'll just copy and paste the code. First we need to import Firebase, and I want to use authentication services, so you can use this module. Or if you want to use Cloud Firestore, you need to import this particular module. So right now in this particular project, we will work on the Cloud Firestore. So I'll just remove this particular part. First, we need to import Firebase, and then inside we are using Cloud Firestore. And here will be your configuration code. And this is a logic for the offline DB support for the Cloud Firestore. And I'm not using these services, authentication, Firebase, and notifications and all. So I'm just using this service only. Service name is Cloud Firestore. Okay, and here I will create a project. So I'll just go to the Firebase console, and here we will write Vue Firebase app, and then I'll click on the continue button, and I will disable the Google Analytics part and then create a project. Okay, so now my project is ready. I'll click on the continue button, and then this is my project dashboard as a, we can say, console. And here we will click on the applications as a web, and I will register my application. So I'll just select here Vue Firebase app. and I will set up as a Firebase hosting and then click on the registered application. Okay, so click on the next button and next, and then you can directly jump to the main home page of your project. And then we'll go to the project setting. Here we have a project setting. So I'll just go to the below part of your application, and then we have a CDN section or configuration file. So this is a configuration file. You just need to copy this code and you need to paste it here, your configuration file. Okay, so now you can use Firebase in your H module. So what I'll do, I'll just run this application. So this is my application is running on localhost port number 8080. So this is the application. Now I will use in this project, we will going to use get bootstrap. So this is a get bootstrap, or we will use bootstrap. So I'll just copy the CSS path. So this is a CSS path. I'll just copy the CSS path and I will paste in the public directory, and we have an index.html file, and we'll paste here for bootstrap CSS. So now I'm ready to use. So I'll go to the home.view component, and then first what I'll do here, we will create a container, and inside container we will create a row, and row inside we will create a one column with the value of col md12, and here we can create a value. Let's say here we can pass the like contact directory app. Okay, so I will save and just reload the page, or you don't need to reload the page, it's working properly. Now what I'll do here, we can write some lorem. So it's working. I will save, and here it's working UI. Okay, now for the contact directory you just need two things, like you need to add the person name and the person contact number. So here I will go to the component. I'll just go to the form sections, and then I have a form control, and these all are the text fields. So we have an input fields. I'll just copy the input field for this one, and here we have a row, and here we will create another row for the UI, and inside here we will create a three column. So first column having a value, so let's say this one is for the name, type is equal to text, and here we can pass user mobile number, username, or we can mention the name. Okay, and here we have our value, and you can also call auto complete is equal to off. Okay, and I will copy this entire logic and I will paste it here. Here we will store this as a number, so we will use type is equal to number, and then here we can say enter mobile number, and I will save, and then we will create a third column having a value of button. So we'll go to the component in the bootstrap website, then we have a button. I'll just copy the button for this particular primary button. So I'll just copy this button and I will paste the button in the third column. Okay, and here we can write a save. Okay, and that's it. So I'll just reload the page, or you don't need to reload the page. So as of now it's working. This one is for the name, this one is for the mobile number, and this save button is for whenever we will add data in the file store. So we need to store this data when we click on this particular button. Okay, so now my UI is working, and here so we can create let's say this one is value is 2, so it's a little bit fine. Yeah, you can mention 1. So yeah, this is near to 1, and you can also change the styling. So we can add a background color, so let's say be background FAFA, save, and then reload. So there is a background, and we can add some margin, or we can add some padding from top and bottom. Value is 5, so we have some space. And similarly what you can do here, you can pass a padding of 3. So we have a padding of 3. So we have a padding of 3. Now we need to call a function. So we need to collect the value from this name and from this particular field, and then when we click on this particular button, so we need to get the value. So what I'll do here, we will create a data as a section for the Vue JS as a property. So we have a data as a field, and now we will create a V model. So let's say here we will create a V model. So I'll write V model for collecting a value. So this one is a V model as a name, and here we have a V model as a number, MB number, mobile number. Okay. So here we will create a variable. So we have a variable as a name, and this is a default value, and then we have a mobile number, and the default value is a string. Okay. So now we need to perform actions. When we click on the save button, we need to call actions. So we have a V on, and then we need to click as a actions, and then we need to call a function. So my function name is save data. Okay. So how we can define a methods or a functions, we just need to create a method as a block. This is a part of Vue's lifecycle. So we have a save data, and when we click on the save data, we can get the value from the name and the mobile number. So how we can do that? So here we can print the data in the console. So we can print like mobile number. How we can print the mobile number or a name? So we can print this dot name with the help of this one. And similarly, this one is for the mobile number. So here we have a mobile number. So I will save, and I'll go to the inspect element, and this is my inspect element. I'll go to this one part, and when we enter a name, so let's say I'm entering my name and the mobile number, let's say 23 something, put, and then when we click on this particular button, so we have a data. Now we need to store this particular data into the Cloud Firestore. So I'll go to my project, and then we have a Cloud Firestore. And then I'll click on create database, and I'll select test mode and click on the next button. Here you can change the location of your database. Okay, so this is my Cloud Firestore database, and you can perform a query. So you just need to go to the documentation, Firebase for web, and then we have a documentation for Cloud Firestore. I'll just click on the Cloud Firestore, and then we have a documentation. So like this is how we can create a database. So create a data in Cloud Firestore. So I'll just copy this logic, or first what I'll do, I'll just need to import Firebase config file in my this particular component. So here we have a script tag, and then we need to import Firebase. So I'm using Firebase from, and then we need to import the file. So that's dot slash, then we have a config, and inside config we have a Firebase. So now we have import the Firebase library. So you just need to call this library. So here we have a Firebase. Inside Firebase we are using Firestore. So we need to use Firestore. So here I'll show you. So this is a Firestore. I'm accessing this particular object, and then we need to store the data in the collections of users, or let's say contact. Okay, and then we need to add the data. So you can add the data with the help of add block, as a methods, and then you can create an object. So let's say I'm creating an object, or my object name is name, this dot name, and this one is for number, or we can say MB number, this dot MB number. And here you can also store the timestamp. So you can add timestamp colon, you can add new date. This will give you the timestamp of your current machine. So we need to store this data. So we have passed this object in this particular query, and this query will work as a JavaScript promises. So if this successfully resolves, so we need to handle with the help of then block, and this will give you the document. Okay, now what I need to do here, we have to we will get the document, and we can print the document with the help of alert. And here we can pass the value, let's say data added and the doc id, and you can print the doc id with the help of doc.id. Okay, and if this particular promises is not able to complete successfully or facing some issues, so we have to handle with the help of reject block. So for rejecting, we need to handle with the help of catch block. So here we have a catch block, and we will get the error, and you can print the error in console.log e. Okay, so now what I'll do, I'll just remove this entire logic, and yes, when we click on the save button, we will create an object having a name, mobile number, timestamp, and then we will run the query for the Firebase. So we are using Firebase, inside we are using Firestore, and then we will store the data in the form of collections. So my collections name is, so here we have a queries like Firebase, Firestore, collections, and then so we are formatting this particular queries, and I will save. I'll just go to the UI, and what I'll do, I'll just remove this one, and here we'll create a directory. So here we'll add a mobile number and click on the save button, and you need to wait for a few seconds, and then this will give you data added and the doc id, this one. So I'll just go to the database, and here we have a collections name is contact, and then we have a document, and then we have a field, these kind of fields. Okay, so similarly, like right now data is added, so you can write a logic. So what you can do, if the data is successfully added, so here this dot name should be blank, and similarly this dot mobile number should be blank. Okay, after adding the data, because we want to remove the value from this particular fields. So let's say I'm adding another number, so I'm adding TechFerment, and mobile number, let's say 4564321. So you can apply some validation based on your JavaScript skills. And yes, data added, and then we have another collections, and the collections name is TechFerment. Okay, so now my add operation is successfully done. Now we will create a function for getting a data. So we will create another function for fetch data. Okay, so here we will run a query. So here we have a Firebase. Inside Firebase we are using Firestore, so I'll write Firestore, and inside I'm working on a collections name is contact. It's a contacts. Okay, so I'll write contacts, and then for getting a data, so we will use get method. Okay, so with the help of this method, this will work as a JavaScript promises. So if this particular block is successfully executed, we need to handle with the help of then block, and then this will give you the list of documents. So we have a list of documents, and then you can apply for each operation. So here we'll write for each, and then this will give you one by one document, and then you can print the document with the help of doc.data as a method. Okay, so I will save. And how we can call this fetch data as a method, so you can call the method fetch data by creating a button, or you can call the fetch method automatically once the Vue component is created. So we have a method mounted. So here we can define a method mounted, and here we will create a function, call this function this dot fetch data. Okay, so this will call automatically, and here this will call automatically, and then we have a, in the console we have a data. So we have a data, you can print the data. Now what you have to do, here we will create a, let's say here we have a contact directory, contacts as a blank array, and when we call this particular here we have a logic. So here we'll access this contact, and then we'll write push, and inside push we will pass this particular logic. Okay, so here we have a data, so we have a contact directory, and then we can print the data. So how we can print the data, so this is my second row. Here we will create another row. So here I'll add the comments like contact form, and here we'll write contact data, contacts data, or we can mention the table. Okay, so now first we will create a row. So here we will create a row, and then here we will create a column of md12, and then we need to create a table. So we have a table. Okay, and inside table we have a table row and we have a table column. So here you can print the name, and then here you can print the contact number. So here you can add contact number, and we are using bootstrap, so we have a class bootstrap as a table class. So we have written table. Okay, now after this one we have a tr, and these tr will be dynamic based on the data. So we have a data here in context. So I'll just copy this contact, and we will apply v4 loop. So this is a v4. Here we have a in, and the right side we have an array, and then this will give you the contact and the index. And here we will have a unique id of a key. So here we will mention the key, and here we can pass the value index. Okay, now we will copy this entire logic. So I'll just copy this logic, I will paste it here, and here we can print the data. So here we have a contact dot name. So here we can get the contact name, and similarly here we will write contact dot mb number. So I will save, and I will reload the page. So we have a data. So this is how my table is working. Okay, so now I'll just add some margin. So here we have a margin top is equal to 5. So here we have a data. So I'll just follow the structure of the table in the bootstrap. So I'll just go to the documentation, and then we'll search table, and then we have it. This is a UI. So first we have a table as a class, and then you can define a scope. So it's totally up to you. So here we have a scope, and here we have a scope, and we will reload the page. So we have a data in the table format. Okay, so now you can also add some border. So you can apply border is equal to 1, and then we have a data. Or I'll just follow the documentation. So we have a table head. So I'll just add a table head, and I will close the table head here, and then we have a table rows, and inside we are using TDH for table heading. So I'll just remove TH, table head, and this one for TH, and this one for TH. Save. And similarly we have a table body. So inside table body, so I'll just copy this one, table body. I'm just implementing the bootstrap table. So here we have a table body, and then we have a table row. So we have a table row. So I'll just save and then reload. So this is my bootstrap table. So when I click on this particular button, so let's say I'm adding a data. So I'm adding a data, let's say name is ASD, and then adding a data. So let's this one, data added, and then we are not getting a data. So we need to call a function. So we are calling a functions once again once the data is going to be added. So here we can call a functions. So this dot fetch data. Okay, now what I need to do here, you have to, whenever you are calling this particular fetch data as a method, you need to remove this contact, and then you can got the data. So I'll just add another data, the mobile number, and then click on the save button. We are getting a data. So that's it. So this is how you can implement the bootstrap, and you can also implement the delete operations. So here you can create a button. So here you can create a logic here, another column for the actions, and here you can write a button. So here we have a button, So I'll just go to the Bootstrap documentation, components, and then we have a button, and I'm just using this danger one. So I'll just copy this button, I will paste it here, and here we can write a logic for delete. Okay, so we have a UI for the delete operations, so we can delete the mobile number. So we need to perform an action, so here you can write v on click, and here we can write a function's name is delete data, and here you need to pass the value. So we need for deleting a document. So if I'll go to the documents for deleting a document, so we need a doc id. So how we can get the doc id? So here we are getting fetching a data, so we are fetching a data here. We can get the id with the help of doc id. So what I'll do, I'll create a JavaScript object. So this is a JavaScript object, and I'm using the property of spread operator. So we have a three dot spread operator, and then we have another object, and this another object is doc id. So here we have a doc.id. Okay, so this is a this one is the object where I'm getting the data, and this is another object having a property doc id, and then I'm combining this object with the help of spread operator, and that's it. So here I will save and I will get the doc id. So I will pass this doc id here, so we'll write contact dot doc id. Okay, so we will create a function method. So here we will create a method. So this is a fetch function. So we'll create a doc, and here we can pass the doc id. Here we can print the doc id. So I'll print the doc id, doc id. So I'll save and then reload. So when I click on this particular button, so we are getting the doc id, and similarly this one, this doc id, and this one is doc id. So we need to call this API, this logic, like so here we'll write a logic Firebase. Inside Firebase we are using Firestore, and inside Firestore we need to remove the data from which collection. So my collection's name is contacts, and I'm working on which document. So my document means the doc id. So here is my doc id, and then we need to call this delete as a things. And if this particular data is successfully removed, so we will get as a resolve block, as it will work as a JavaScript promises. And here you can print the data alert like document removed. And similarly, if you are getting any issue, so we can handle with the catch block, and here we can print the error. So we'll write console.log, and we can print E. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just if this particular part is successfully removed, so we need to print the data again. So we will call fetch data. So when I click on this button, so data remove, and then we have a ASDs remove. And you can also apply the confirm box, like here you can write if confirm, and like are you sure, here we have a question mark, and if the user will click on the yes or okay, so then we can delete the document. Okay, otherwise we cannot delete the document. So here I will save, and then we have a data, and then we'll click on the delete button. So it will ask, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. So I need to delete the data, so or no. So I'll delete the data of VVV. So data remove, and the new data is this one. Now we have created a contact directory, and we can secure this contact directory based on the authentication. So right now I'm not implementing the authentication features. And also you can deploy this website on Firebase. So what you have to do first, you need to install Firebase CLI in your system. So you can watch the video. I have shared the video in the video description. So like first you need to install Vue Firebase CLI. So we'll just search Firebase CLI npm. So this is the command. I'll just go to the npm tools, and yeah, so this is a command you need to run. So I have already installed Firebase CLI. I have installed Firebase CLI. I'll just go to the new tab of the terminal, and then here we will write Firebase login. So we can log in the Firebase CLI. So I'll click on the Firebase login as a command, and then this will give you ask you for the permission. So I'll give the permission for Firebase CLI, and then I will allow, and my Firebase CLI is logged in successfully. Now we need to create a initialize the Firebase project. So here we will type Firebase init as a command, and then this will ask, are you ready to proceed? Yes, I'm ready to process. Here we can select a Firebase hosting and then press enter, and then you can go for the existing project, and here we have a list. So we are using the Firebase project name is Vue Firebase app. So I'll just scroll down, and here we have Vue Firebase app, and then here you can define a directory. So whenever we are working on Vue JS or Angular, we have this directory after building Vue JS or Angular based applications. So here we will write this, and we are working on a single page application. Yes, with the help of Vue JS you can create a single page application, and we are not working on CI/CD part, so that's why we have type and then this will create a disk directory, and having a disk directory we have a file index.html. So I can remove this file, it's totally up to you. Now what I'll do, I need to build this Vue.js application, so you need to run the command npm run build. Now my Vue.js project is built successfully. So inside this directory we have a data, so you can run the Firebase like the with the help of serve command to check the hosting, like how it's working. So you just need to type Firebase serve, and it will serve your this directory from the local machine, and then you can check. So here we have a command localhost colon 5000. I'll just click on the 5000, and yes, this is my server and we are getting the data and it's working fine. So we need to run the command. Next we have a command Firebase deploy. So I'll just close, or you can create a new, and here you just need to type Firebase deploy, and that's it. So with the help of single command you can deploy Vue.js application on Firebase. Yeah, so this is my hosted URL. I can open this URL and it's working. Here we are working on production, so we can add a data. So let's say I'm adding a data, let's say TechFerment 2, and here we can pass the number. You can apply some validation, it's totally up to you. So I'll click on the save button, and then this will give you document edit, and then we have a contact data. So this is how you can create a Vue.js application based on Firebase, and we have implemented Cloud Firestore and a Firebase hosting part. If you have any doubt, you can ask your questions in the chat section or comment section. And thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.